Today's video will be about arrays. So far we have looked into we assign values to variables. Right now we are going to look into how we are going to assign a set of values in a single variable. Now what are arrays? It is a collection of a fixed number of items of the same data type. If you want to store a set of values of the same data type in a particular variable, that variable will be known as an array. That means it will store a set of values in memory. Now, each of these elements can be accessed by the index value of the array using the square brackets at the indices value that will be on the top of the array. Now, this is the syntax of an array. It's just like we declare a variable, data type, variable name or array name. Just the difference is that here I have to mention the size. Here the size is the maximum size of the variable and how much values we can store. Suppose say it's say for this example, the variable a, that is array, it can store 50 elements. The maximum size is 50 elements. Not necessary we have to store 50 elements itself, right? Maybe we can store 5 and 50. So this is the maximum size which is mentioned for the variable a. Now, initialization can be done either in one by one or in a group of values altogether in one statement. That is, we can declare during declaration we can initialize the values, and or uh, by statement you initialize each value. This is the classification of the array. It's divided into two types. One is single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. Now let's look into it further in detail. What are single dimensional arrays? These are arrays with a single row and a set of values are stored in these rows. This is the usual syntax of the arrays. It's the same syntax of single dimensional arrays. That is a single row. Here, this is the example int a of 40, which 40 is the maximum size of the array name a. These are usually known by as one-dimensional arrays. Usually, when we write a program, we call as one-dimensional arrays commonly. Next is multi-dimensional arrays. These are arrays in which we store values in the form of rows and columns. Usually, if it's a single-dimensional array, one row or one column. But in multi-dimensional arrays, we have to store values in columns as well as rows. This is the syntax of the multi-dimensional array. The difference here is that we have to mention the size of rows and columns. Size 1 is the maximum size of rows and size 2 is the maximum size of columns. These are also known as two-dimensional arrays. Initialize an array. This is how we initialize a single dimensional array when we want to initialize it along with declaration. Either we can do it in one step or step by step. Here int a5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's done with the declaration. Initialization is done with the declaration. But if you check the next few lines, you notice that step by step for each indices it is initialized. That is, after declaration you initialize with each indices. This is the case of single dimensional array. Next we look into multi-dimensional arrays initialization. Now this is how we initialize multi-dimensional arrays. We can initialize with declaration as well. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 0th row. All three columns are filled. And the next one is the first row. All three columns are filled. And the next few lines show the step-by-step initialization of each row and column. Now this is how we initialize using declaration. Next we'll be looking into other than since if we use initialization during declaration is kind of time consuming, so there's another way to initialize the values of array with a single statement. Initialization using looping statements. We use looping statements for assigning values in an array as each space is allocated in memory when you declare it. Now suppose and each indices is incremented by 1, so it is easier to use looping statements. Now look, this is how the format of an array is. For this, and the top values are the indices and the down values are the 56, 79, 67. These values are the values that we stored in the variable or the array A. Now the size of array is 6 since all 5 spaces are filled. Now when you check the indices, each value is incremented by 1, and when we initialize a loop, each loop is indicated by a number, right? 0, 1 is the 0th loop, the first loop, the second loop. Same way, when you initialize a variable or declare a variable, it will allocate space in memory. So since there are 6 spaces, that means we can use 6 spaces are available for us to store a set of values, and each space is indicated by indices. From here it is indicated from 0 to 5, and its increment, each indices are incremented by 1, 0, 1, 2. So this is how we initialize arrays using looping statements. I hope you've understood the video I've taken, the topic that I've taken about today. If you have any doubts, please comment down below. Thank you.